Our next news story comes from Vice, and loads of outlets are reporting on this, and I think this may very well happen, but I also don't think it's the worst thing. But the PS6 release date could be delayed due to RAM shortages, a new report is claiming. So we had a whole bunch of speculation that, since DDR5 memory has just went through the roof in price due to AI companies literally buying up all of this piece of hardware, that it's going to impact pretty much every other consumer electronic, including games consoles. And Insider Gaming has basically corroborated that Sony could push back the PS6 and the launch plans as a result of this hardware crisis. And they've went on and said, from what we understand, the situation has led console manufacturers to debate whether the next generation of consoles should be delayed from their intended 2027-2028 release window, with the hope that RAM manufacturers will be able to build out their infrastructure to produce more RAM, thereby allowing prices to drop. This is really interesting because leaks have claimed that Sony had plans to manufacture the PS6 in 2027 with a possible launch in November of that year. Making the situation more tense, Micron announced that they're exiting the consumer market. So they are one of the biggest manufacturers of RAM and memory. So this is huge. They're basically just going to sell directly to these massive companies that are making all these AI data centers and things like that. And then we've got Moore's Law is Dead has addressed the potential of a PS6 delay in a recent December podcast episode, where the insider believes it's too soon to predict whether the RAM shortage will extend into 2027. And they said, the documents I've seen behind the scenes say the PS6 is supposed to be manufactured in mid-2027. Based on that, we really don't know if it will be affected yet. And then Moore's Law is Dead pointed out that the industry is expanding fast as possible to create more RAM. There's more RAM coming. They're building out as much as possible. There'll be new tech that makes it easier. It's kind of an unsatisfying answer for gamers short term. Everyone is doing everything they can, and there is just going to be a shortage in 2026. So it's looking like next year's not going to be too hot for RAM or buying consumer electronics. Hopefully it tails off in 2027, and then maybe the PS6 arrives as planned in November 2027. The bit I found really interesting about this article was that PlayStation players actually welcomed the news of a PS6 delay. And on Reddit, they've said this generation of consoles still has lots to give. I can't imagine any games releasing now are really struggling to work with their current tech either, a user on Reddit wrote. For example, another commenter agreed, that's fine. Don't really need new consoles just yet. And one commented simply, sounds great to me. That doesn't bother me either. I do feel like the PlayStation 5 generation has plenty more to give, especially with the PS5 Pro out there. PS6, do we need one so soon? Would it be that bad if it was delayed, given how expensive everything is getting? Let's get more out of our PS5s, more bang for our buck. Would you be upset if the PS6 was delayed? The only thing that I guess would upset me a little bit about this is the rumoured PS6 handheld, because I would really like to get my hands on that. A dedicated PlayStation handheld sounds awesome, and with the success of the Portal, which I think has helped shape Sony's ideas on this, by them now thinking, yes, there is demand for a handheld, I think that could be awesome, and I'd really like to see what Sony come up with, because their hardware is always top notch. That would be a bit of a bummer if that was delayed. The actual home console, I'm not as fussed about. What do you think? PS6 delay, are you happy about that? Do you not care? Are you cool with your PS5 and your Portal until this new PS6 arrives, whenever it does? Maybe if it was delayed, say 2029, 2030, would you be cool with that? Sound off in the comments.